Okay, so now we're going to show a connection to the 28,000 system we just looked at. There are two methods to connect to the system. One is using a terminal mode connection, and the other is using a Precision Filters GUI control software program. Through either mode of connection, all the features and functions of the cards and of the system are available. It's just two different ways of achieving control of the system. So first what I'll demonstrate is making a terminal mode connection to the system. We have an Ethernet connection hooked up from our PC over to our control card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a terminal program like we're using TerraTerm, but you can use any terminal program you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter in the IP address of the system, and we're operating at port 28,000. So now we've connected to the system. We see we have a system prompt, and we can enter in a command, and we can read the configuration. So we can see here that we have one of our 28124 conditioner cards, and we have one of our 28,000 BIF control cards that's interfacing the PC to the system. So from this interface we can do a query of commands, and we can send commands. So for example, I can send a simple command called gain, and the gain will report back the gain setting on each of the 4 channels on the card. So the query and sending of commands is very simple. For example, if I now want to change the gain to a setting of 2, I simply enter gain of 2, and then it will report back that the gain has been updated. So we can enter any of the commands to control the system hardware, excitation, filters, amplifier gains. The commands are also fully displayed in the system by simply typing a help command. We get a listing of all the commands in the system. This mode of interface would be used if you're going to develop your own control software via LabVIEW or Lab Windows or whatever type of program you would like to use to develop your own custom interface. So what we'll show now is the Precision Filters GUI software that comes with the system. This software also uses the same Ethernet interface. We're going to run it off from a desktop icon you can see here. So we will run the software. The first thing the software will do is it will go out, it will communicate to the chassis, it will recognize the 28124 conditioner card, it will recognize the control card, and now what we have is a full control panel that gives us a overview of all the system level controls, like the system monitor function. We have a function that shows us all of the temperature and voltage indicators for the power supply to verify that everything in the chassis is functioning properly. And what we see here is a main control panel that shows us all the controls for the conditioner card. So we have excitation, gain, filter controls, and controls to set the various outputs on the card to be either the filtered or wideband output. So what we have here is sort of the overview panel. This is for all channels on a particular card in the system. If we hit this button here, we now get a drop-down list. So this upper blue menu is sort of the overview control, and now we see here for each of these drop-down controls we have an individual control ribbon for each of the 4 channels in the system. And we can see here that, for example, we have the same gain control. So for example, if I want to change the gain on all 4 channels from a setting of 1 to a setting of 2, I simply enter 2, and now all the channels are set to a gain of 2. We can also do a control down in one of the individual control ribbons. I'm going to change this gain on this particular channel to a gain of 4. So from this control panel we have access to all the controls. In addition, the GUI software brings out another layer of indicator panels, so we can see here a series of lights and indicators to indicate amplifier overloads, open and short circuit conditions on the sensor inputs, excitation and measured loop resistance faults to tell us if the excitation or the expected loop resistances are out of tolerance. So that gives us sort of a level of awareness as to any fault conditions in the system. And we have test modes that will enable us to do various diagnostic testing on the system here. And one of the other features we have in the system is we have a built-in monitor in real time of the excitation and the loop resistance of the attached sensor. So we can actually measure the excitation being delivered out to a sensor and then measure the cable plus loop resistance. So all of this is brought out into our GUI software, and it gives you sort of an overview of the controls, but also some feedback and diagnostic information as far as faults and the state of the system.